Hello everyone, welcome back, and today I'm going to be doing a first impressions video on a new karate gi that I've ordered. It will be a full review eventually, but I think it's only fair that when I do a full review that I've actually worn the gi for a decent length of time, trained in it, we know what it's like when it's been washed and so on, the important things. So this will be more of a first impressions type video. There are cats roaming around, so the video may get interrupted at any point, and I'll try and avoid that if I can, but they're cute and fluffy, so we'll see what happens. Right, so the gi in question, I'm going to split this into a few parts. The first one's going to be a little bit I'm going to do a little bit of a background about the company that I've ordered from, and also about the process of me trying to find a gi, because that's actually quite monumental. If you want to skip that entirely, feel free. You can jump to part 2, and if I've actually done this properly, there should be a timestamp for you to skip straight to the look at the gi itself. So in that section, I'm going to be showing you the style, the cut. See, told you, cats. There we go. We'll be looking at the style and the cut, the material, and the general impression of the feel when I actually put it on. So I'll be chucking the gi on for that one at some point as well, testing movement out. And then very soon I'm going to be wearing it. In fact, tonight will be my first time wearing it in a training session. Look at that. The moment the camera comes on, they have to start playing. So I'll be trying it out at training tonight for the first time. Of course, we're still under lockdown, so I'll only be training virtually at the moment. But, hopefully I can put it through its paces, and we'll see how it goes. And then I'll update the video or release a second video once I've used it for an extended period of time, and then we'll get a proper look at it. Right, part 1 then. I have to give you a little bit of a detail about my absolute nightmare trying to find a decent gi. Now, I currently wear a Blitz White Diamond gi, 14 ounce gi. They are very, very good, and I'm not saying they're not. I have about 10 of them. The problem for me is that they're bought en masse. The manufacturer changes all the time for them. Is the only thing I can think of, because the cut changes all the time. Now, I'm 5'6". I therefore wear a 170 or a 175 centimeter gi. I tend to, for my size, I have quite broad shoulders, and I also, when I wear the gi trousers, I've got quite short legs. So like if it was trousers, I would wear a short leg trouser, but I've got quite big upper thighs, which is often means I can't wear skinny fit trousers. It just doesn't work. I've got big calves as well, so I have to have enough room. But normally what ends up happening is most gis now cater for people being really long and lanky, which is a nightmare for me. Because every gi I buy I tend to be tripping over the trousers, or the sleeves are down here somewhere, and then if I go for a shorter gi to get the arms and the sleeves right, it doesn't fit around the waist, it doesn't fit around the thighs, or the skirt is so short that my belt just pretty much pulls out my belt. So it's no good. And like I said, I've got 10 White Diamond gis, and I think only 3 of them are actually decent fit. They're all the same size, they're technically all 170, but not a single one of them is the same shape or size. Right, so onto this gi. This is from a company called White Tiger, and they're a UK-based company. And I've been looking around for months. I've now been ordering. I think in the last year I've ordered about 4 or 5 gis from different suppliers, and in every case they've just not been suitable. They've been too long, or they've been too baggy, or whatever it is, and they're just not good. For the price that you have to pay for them. I'm not going to just turn them up. I spend a long time in a gi. I have to be comfortable now. It's not an option. I need something that works well. And I got in contact with this company called White Tiger, and I had an exceptionally long email conversation, then a phone conversation with the owner, telling them about this problem I have, trying to get a good fit gi. And I'm not the only one. My fiance's the same. She can't get one that's the same, a good fit for her. And a lot of other people I know have the same issue. And he was very receptive, and he said that he felt that theirs, being a Japanese cut, had a decent length skirt and slightly shorter arms and so on. And I bought 2 gis, one for me and one for Kirsty. They arrived, and unfortunately, exactly the same problem. Massive legs, massive arms. I sent him a picture of us wearing them, and they're like a frame tent. So it was, at first I thought, okay, it's going to be like the others. I'll return it, I'll get my refund, and that'll be the end of it. But that wasn't the case. So I was very impressed that he was fascinated by, you know, that on paper they should fit me, but it was obviously huge. And he was the owner was incredibly receptive, and I sent him measurements of my body. I also put my favourite gi on, the one that fits well, and I took a picture of myself wearing that, and then I also did measurements. I think we did about 12 different measurements, things like so shoulder to sleeve to wrist, but we also did things like the width as well, so that you could see the taper difference between the two. You know, we looked at the excess space under and across the chest, and it was really good. Anyway, I'll probably put a little picture to show you all the different measurements that we took. And the result was that he came back and said, okay, this is definitely not right, and it's not going to be, it's going to limit his market, because, you know, at the end of the day, they're a business. And what they've done is, over the last 6 months, we've been corresponding, and he's gone sort of back to the drawing board and completely redesigned the measurements of their standard gis. And not only that, they're also now offering a tailoring service to shorten the arms and the legs for those that require it as well. And that, to me, is excellent service. So I can go straight away, massive thumbs up for this company. The sheer amount of time and effort they have put in to what could have potentially not led to a sale is phenomenal. I cannot recommend that side of the company enough. The next thing I'd want to note then is actually a very exciting one. The conversation with them also led to talk about gis for women, because they're all designed exactly the same, and our experience has been that since essentially women have different anatomy, and they don't often fit as flatteringly or even comfortably. You know, women typically have wide hips, of course they've got larger chests and so on, and you know, women tend to be more, is it more leg than torso, more torso, I can't think now. But we basically, consulting with Kirsty, came up with some alterations that would be better suited for women. And the result is that I think in what is a first, they have now developed a specific female fit karate gi. And I do have one here that Kirsty's going to be testing as well, so there will be a review of that coming up soon. First impressions on that are pretty good so far though. Right, let's get into the gi then. I very nearly forgot to mention the all-important cost. Now this gi is £135 retail price, and then there is also a small fee for adjustments if you want them. If I remember correctly, I think it was £20 or £25. I may be wrong on that. If I get it wrong, I'll put a thing up on there now. Now £135 does put this, of course, towards the more premium end of gis. But you know, when you've got your Shoguns and your Tokaidos and so on, and you're looking at Saishin, you know, you're looking at a few £100 at that point. I would say that we're looking at the price range for people who are very serious karate practitioners. Now that's the retail price direct from them. Club instructors, they do offer wholesale prices, which means that you can get them cheaper, and you can pass on that discount to your students if you wish to. That's what we're going to do. We're a non-profit group, so we will be able to sell them a bit cheaper and still make a couple of quid for the club, and that'll be about it. So there we go, very important. Okay, so part two then, let's have a look at this gi. Now the first thing I want to bring up is, and this is one of my big appeals, they all arrive in an exceptionally tough, strong card-based heavy paper bag. The company has made a hugely concerted effort to be fully recyclable with their packaging, which is absolutely great. Now, I had to send geese back to them, and we went to and fro, and I used the packaging that they sent me. I think we used it 3 times. They sent it to me, I sent it to them, they sent it back to me with geese, and it held up. Now, that's a good start, and it's fully recyclable. There's no plastic wrapped around the geese. They are put in here, they're folded beautifully. Very impressed, and I think that's a great bonus as well. I'd rather keep these things sustainable because there's just too much plastic everywhere. Okay, the gi itself then. We'll start with the jacket. These are full cotton gis, not polycotton. They're 16 ounce. Now, some people are going to go, oh, 16 ounce, that's really heavy. I've obviously tried it on. Comparing it to a Blitz White Diamond gi, which is 14 ounces, I couldn't notice any real difference. This is definitely 16 ounces, there's no denying it. As in, I can't notice anything that makes me go, this is going to be too hot for summer training. My first impression of it is that they've done such a nice cut to it, and it's a really nice material, that it doesn't feel as heavy as it actually is in reality to wear. It sits comfortably across the body. The weight's distributed very well, and I think it's going to be comfortable all year round. Right, so here we go. We've all seen obviously a gi. It's a nice white gi. It's very, very well done. The lining here is very thick, but not rigid. It's the whole material is soft. Now, normally after a few washes, most gis do become a little bit stiffer, which is why I'm going to do a proper review once I've worn it and it's washed a few times and so on. But it feels soft, it's strong enough, I can pull this and I don't feel like the seams are going to rip, which is great. There's a nice taper between the arm and the sleeve, and it uses the classic ties as well. These are, again, they're nice and thick ties. They've been stitched very well, and what's nice is, if I can put it to the camera, unlike the Blitz ones, which are stitched on top, this one is actually looped underneath the main lapel, and it is stitched underneath and across. So for me, that's going to prevent the ripping of these, because that's the common one, and they're tied and you do grappling, there's a good chance they're going to rip. I always recommend undo them if you're doing grappling anyway, but that is a good sign. Same here, it goes underneath, it's obviously held in place with the stitching under here, and comes across, stitched again, and we've got a nice solid tie. Okay, so I'm just going to slip that on, and we'll have no, I won't. Let's go to the trousers, and I'll slip the whole gi on, and I'll give you an impression of it then once I've got it on properly. Okay, onto the trousers. Now, this is my biggest problem always. Trousers that have waists that could fit 2 or 3 people in. They have trousers where their legs are actually 6 foot of their body length. And I just don't like it. It's my biggest problem. I can live with longer sleeves and roll them, but trousers, absolutely not. Infuriates me. Right, these ones, I am so happy. They look wide. I mean, I'm not obviously that wide, but these are a drawstring waist. Very, very easy to use. Now, obviously, the biggest thing for those of you that use drawstring waist trousers, once they've been washed or used several times, it can twist inside. So it's going to be interesting to see how easy it is to adjust that or to stop them getting really tight. But so far, it feels good. Something I should bring up is that when I wear my gi trousers, I don't like high-waisted trousers. Because of my stature, I wear the trousers on my hips, which is one of the things that has caused me a lot of problems. Because of my shape, a lot of gis are designed to be high-waisted, one up here, and that would essentially account for a big length, but I physically can't get those on. There's normally not enough space in the groin or the upper leg, and typically because of my shape, when they go up there, they tend to slip anyway, at which point I'm tripping over them and it's just no good. These ones, so far, feel very nice when I've had them on, which I will put on in a minute. They're a tie at the front, so we've got 2 ties here. One thing that is different is the white diamond one typically has a loop at the front as well, which I quite like. It's not essential, but you know, you can put the trouser through quite comfortably and tie at the front. And one of the things that I normally do when I'm wearing my trousers is once I've done the knot, I normally tuck the leftovers actually back in anyway, so it doesn't bother me really. It's just a style choice. I don't think it has any practical difference. Right, let's try it on. Alright, here we are with the gi on. Now, I haven't done the jacket up because I want to start with the trousers. Excuse the hairy chest and belly, but here we go. Now, the first thing is, these are absolute perfect length for me. I know you probably can't see there, but if I sort of lift my leg up, you can see it's a few inches off when I lift my leg up. When it's not, I've got about 3-4 inches, something like that, away from my ankle, which is perfect for me. I prefer a shorter leg trouser. I have tried the standard fit on, and there's not much, you know, they're actually still a suitable length for me, which is absolutely wonderful. In terms of the other areas, I've got plenty of space around the upper leg, which is great news. So no issues, you can see, lifting for any kicks. And I've got plenty of space in the groin as well, so I've got plenty of range of movement, which is fantastic. The tie point, like I mentioned, now I typically prefer to tie at the front and I just tuck the excess down, but as you can see, there's a lot of excess, and that's not a bad thing, because with the side points, I know some people who like to pull them around to one side and tie a bow on one side instead. Whatever suits you, you basically can do it, which is fine. I prefer to just tuck the excess down. You don't feel it in the trouser. They're close enough to the leg that they're not going to be in the way or feel uncomfortable. Right, so that's the trousers. Very, very happy. Let's start with this, do the top up, have a look at the top. For the sake of this, I'm just going to do a very quick knot. Okay, right, so first of all, first impressions, and yeah, good, comfortable. It feels nice on the, I hate using the word nice. What I should say is better than that, is that it feels soft, it feels spacious, but not baggy, which is great for me. The sleeves are perfect length. Now, as I said, I've had mine slightly altered, but again, the standard fit, as far as I can see, if I can get it to the right point, would come to pretty much to the wrist itself. I prefer a shorter cut, so I've had a couple of inches taken off the sleeves. One thing that I noticed straight away, now some gis sort of garrote you across here, which I absolutely hate. This one doesn't. I feel like I've got enough space around here. It's a little bit higher than I'm used to, but I think part of that is down to that it hasn't had much wear yet. One thing that I can say is I can feel the back of the gi against my neck. It's not uncomfortable, but it's more noticeable. Now, back from, I used to do judo as well, and obviously you have much thicker gis with judo, and this is what it's reminiscent of. It feels to me like, I think the increase in thickness of the gi to the 16 ounce is what's doing that. Now, bear in mind, of course, this hasn't softened up in any way. It's still maintaining its folded original shape at the minute, so I actually anticipate that's probably going to loosen up, but it's not actually uncomfortable. Just because I can feel it, it's not an issue, and I think once you're training, I don't think you'd notice it, to be perfectly honest. I put my belt on as well, see how that changes things. Gives you an idea of the length of the skirt as well, certainly the way I prefer it. And like I said, as with the trousers, I tend to wear my belt down on my hips as well, because it just gives me it gives me more comfort. So that to me is a good length. I've got plenty of space. If we're doing grappling and pulling, it's not going to be coming out every 30 seconds, which is great. And what's nice as well is that with the belt on, I don't feel like I've got lots of excess space. I've got enough to move without feeling like I'm in a tent. The back, it's not baggy around the back. It's plenty of range of movement in all directions. I'm happy lifting up and down. One of the things that some gis I find is that once you've got your belt on, lift your arms up, you get a huge restriction here. I don't have that problem. Plenty of range of movement. I'm very, very, very impressed so far. Anything else I can add to it? I will say, like, this, actually now my belt's on, strangely this doesn't feel as tight. I don't know whether it's because it's pulled the middle in a little bit, it's not hanging so much. I don't actually notice it as much on the neck now. So I think with a bit of use, that will soften up, and I'll be curious to see what this feels like after several washes, because there's nothing worse than having something rubbing on the back of your neck. But I don't actually feel worried about that at the moment, based on the rest of the quality. Double stitched, what's this, single stitched, folded and stitched, but very, very strong by the looks of it. Nothing sticking out. One thing that I will bring up, which is a positive as well, actually, and this isn't just me saying positive everything, you know, I'm just giving it as I see it. The seams, they feel like they've been put in very, very finely stitched, which is nice. I don't know if I can get it onto the camera, but you can see here, hopefully, that they're very finely stitched through there. And some gis I've had, they rub, and these don't. I don't feel anything. It doesn't feel coarse. It feels very soft, but it also feels durable, which is what I do like. And yeah, my opinion so far, I'm very, very, very much looking forward to trying this out in proper training. I will say that just on first impressions, I'm expecting, hands down, this to be the best gi I've owned. So we'll see, and we'll go from there. So once I've worn it and I've trained with it for a few weeks, I'm going to do a full review based on actually having used it, washed it, trained with it in anger, as it were, so to speak, and we'll see. But so far, White Tiger Gi, check them out, whitetigergi.com. I'll put a link in the description for you, and yeah, take care everyone. I'll see you again next time.